Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel, where everything you are about to hear and see has been done in one take. I'm your host, the One Take Man. About a year ago, I posted the first of 4 videos that are about Stardew Valley, or that are of me playing Stardew Valley, and um, and in order to, let's say, celebrate that occasion, I thought I would I thought I would finally close the lid on my experiences with that part of gaming culture by finally giving a review of the game. I do have to issue a disclaimer, however, namely the fact that my review of Stardew Valley is based on my personal experience with Stardew Valley, which may or may not be, or most likely will be, very different compared to compared to yours, and it is also very likely incomplete, as I've really only seen a small fraction of it. I am, however, relatively certain that I've seen pretty much everything I need to see in order to be able to give a review. If you think I am wrong in that assessment, then I very much encourage you to mention that in the comment section below. Before you do so, I should, however, first let you know what exactly you're, what exactly you will be commenting about. So here I start with my review, or more precisely with a summary. The TLDW, or Too Long Didn't Watch summary, is the fact that this game is very vibes based. It is very reliant on building a specific atmosphere and a specific environment within which the player can frolic or engage in a wide variety of activities. Because of this, however, because of this more casual attitude and this, and the variety of tasks that it offers, the actual the actual inner workings of the game are a little fast and loose, and don't really and therefore the various aspects of the game don't really mesh well together. Still, there are plenty of intriguing points to this game. So if any of its aspects, or if any part of, or if the blurb seems intriguing to you, then I can pretty much guarantee that there will be some facet of the gameplay that will stick with you, and it will make you find this game interesting enough to spend your time with. And now that I'm done with the general information, it's time I delve a little bit deeper. This game doesn't really have a central plot insofar as it really has a central conceit. That being that the player character has inherited a farm in a small town, and gets to relocate to said farm and then just go do whatever within the town, or at least whatever the game allows, which I won't go too specifically or too granularly into, because that is really up to each individual player. And by that I mean that it is very much up to each individual player, because while the game offers you a wide variety of goal choices, it doesn't really prioritize any of these goals in any specific manner. At least not that I've been able to figure out. So yeah, it is very much an open shell for the player, and it is within that freedom, and within the small town setting, that this game's biggest strength and greatest weakness lies, because it is very much built upon the impression of casual freedom. But once you get into it, and once you study it, you will find that there is a lot more depth to it. And depending on the extent to which the atmosphere of the game really catches you, you are likely to spend either 5 or 5,000 hours into the game. If, however, you are neutral to the atmosphere and to the general presentation of the game, what else is there? What does this game offer you as a player? The I think the first most logical place to start would be the gameplay. And when it comes to the gameplay, I myself, as a casual, have found it to be somewhat, uh, or I have found its presentation to be somewhat intransparent and incoherent. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some basics like farming, foraging, and mining that are easy enough to just pick up as you go along. And I imagine most of the players who most of the players who interact with this game will have uh, will have at least tried those out. But when it comes to other aspects of the game, such as the supernatural, the adventurers guild, or even the various, or even the social aspect of the game, which even a casual search on YouTube will reveal is a pretty sizable section of it, is not effectively conveyed to the player. Like you can't just it's hard to just walk up to people and start conversations. You really have to know how to prompt them into talking and into and interacting with you. And the same goes for a lot of other topics, for a lot of other things. And that would be fine. Some level of mechanical complexity would be, is fine in general. However, the game doesn't really know how to communicate its complexity or its features to the player. It has a very simplistic presentation that doesn't really mesh well with the complexity of what it actually offers. It is somewhat similar in that way to another game I've talked about quite a lot on this channel, namely Sid Meier's Pirates, where there is a central gameplay loop, but then there are other extraneous elements. The difference between this game and that is that those extraneous elements in Pirates were at least somewhat well integrated or well motivated given the setting. In this game, however, I'm afraid that is very much not the case. And with most of the mechanics, aside from the basics, being gatekept either mechanically by the game not communicating to the player how exactly to get started within those directions, or through value, by requiring an exorbitant cost in the main in-game currency, or by requiring a broad variety of various in-game resources, which, yeah, I have to say is very discouraging when it comes to the engagement with the game. Even assuming you are willing to spend your time and and become proficient within those fields or gather all those resources, well then that changes the dynamics of the game in ways that the game itself I don't necessarily think is built around or can really support. Due to the seasonal nature of the game, there are many tasks that are time blocked, so to speak. There are that have that have to be completed within several gameplay cycles or days. And as such, this game that presents itself as a casual, relaxing one can become pretty arduous to become a pretty arduous task and time management challenge. Doubly so when you look at how in specific the actual feedback of the game ends up being. If I can again go to a compare and contrast exercise to another game I've talked about a lot on this channel, namely ambition, minuet, and power. With ambition, the actual gameplay cycles are a little bit smaller and focused on cycles or events are focused on or loops and gameplay loops are a little bit smaller and focused on various in-game events. However, within these various in-game events, there are more opportunities for the player to direct or choose whatever actions or whatever interactions they choose to involve themselves with, and the feedback, the potential reward, potential merit of each action is is more clear going in, and the actual results of the action are communicated more clearly over the course of the game. Stardew Valley doesn't benefit from that. It really comes down to digging through a lot of inventories and piecing together whatever you need at whatever you need at any given time in order to fully engross yourself within what is going on. And from that perspective, I really think that the game suffers because it is not really, because the atmosphere and the presentation doesn't really allow for that broader level of multifaceted gameplay. Less could have definitely been more, as in give players less options of what to do, but refine those options that that are actually present. Give them more direct and more engaging feedback with regards to what it is that they're supposed to do, or really make the mechanics in and of themselves, and at least when it comes to the facets outside of the basics, a little bit more compelling, a little bit more crunchy. Give the player more to interact with. Aside from that, however, I have to say that the game is, for the most part, quite well. As I've said, there is a solid core. There is a solid gameplay core that that is satisfying, that is rewarding to go through, and that is quite engaging to interact with. And also the atmosphere within the game is, for the most part, quite well constructed in terms of how its visual presentation is put together, how the how the sound design functions and is made to support that. Also all of the NPCs within the game, while my interactions with them have been more limited than perhaps those of other players, are still those facets of the game are still interesting enough to delve into. It is somewhat unfortunate of the game design that it becomes very muddled in game, to the point where or during the in-game night. To the point where pathfinding becomes basically impossible. Overall, this game has a solid and engaging feedback loop, around which it has added a lot of extraneous aspects, which ultimately do not really bring the benefit that I really think was intended for it to bring. My final rating for Stardew Valley is a 3 out of 5. And that was my review. Thank you for your attention. If you enjoyed it, well then please like the video, maybe even share it wherever you think other people will also like the video. If you have anything to add, either to the game itself or to my impressions of it, the comment section awaits those, just as I've said in the beginning. And if you want to see when my next video gets released, well then please subscribe. And ideally also ring the bell or do whatever else YouTube will ask of you in order to keep you notified. I also have a main channel where I talk about book-related and literature topics, a link to which you can find in the description down below, right past my social media links, which I suggest you check out, should you choose to. If, if my thoughts on literature don't really interest you, then I suggest you stay on this channel and go for my extensive backlog of videos where I talk about video games, TV series, movies, politics, really anything that comes to mind. If none of those interest you, then I suggest you go ahead and do whatever you want the rest of your day, because it is your day after all. And yeah, that was all I had for you. So until next time, I have been the One Take Man.